Welcome to Bleav in 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Tasia Dash. Bleav in 76ers is presented by betonline.ag.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year. It's football season, and you know what that means? It means it's time to get in on BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. BetOnline. The game starts here. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav in 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Tasia Dash. Guys, Thanksgiving week. So I hope everyone, all our subscribers and followers out there are having a nice week with their family and friends. And we hope you guys get to enjoy some 76ers chat this week. Obviously not coming to you in the best circumstances right now, but we're going to try to provide some levity and some optimism as we go forward here, especially on this episode this week. But yeah, guys, how are y'all feeling heading into Thanksgiving this week?
I'm good. I'm feeling good. Getting ready for it.
Pretty good. I mean, Sixers wise, not very good, but
yeah, he just said how you're doing. He didn't say the team, so
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm
Well,
I'm getting into the mode, right? Because we're not. This isn't a podcast about me.
I mean, the Browns won. I was watching the Steelers game and happened to see the Browns win, so that was good to see.
Hey, if you're not going to have a winning season, at least beat your rivals.
Yeah,
there you go.
But yeah, overall good.
Eric, Tasia's moods go with the Sixers. As the Sixers are going, that's how Tasia goes. Even though we're Chief fans, even though we're winning, as the Sixers goes, that's how Tasia's mood swings go. So right now,
his mood swing is very low.
It's not really swinging. It's just it's hanging low right now.
Yeah. It's dangling right now.
I wish it was swinging. It's going from like left bad to right bad. If it's swinging at all,
I feel you. I understand.
But guys, with this episode, what we said last week, we're going to dive into some of the questions you guys posted on our YouTube community board page, and we'll get into those questions. We got 3 from 3 of our subscribers. And again, you guys post away your questions on our YouTube community board, and we'll definitely answer them on every episode we have coming up here. But yeah, before we get into that, this weekend was kind of an up and down weekend, right? So we started off this weekend with a huge win over the Nets with a huge fourth quarter victory. Jared McCain and Maxey. The M&M backcourt looked fantastic, especially in that fourth quarter. The game was kind of up and down until the fourth, and then they kind of took over. Everyone's feeling positive after that one. And then you go into the Clippers game Sunday night, and that's where I think some fans might say we've hit rock bottom because that was just an absolutely spanking from the get-go, right out the gate. So, and obviously, and fans were booing too, and fans were leaving early. And by midway through the second quarter, they started to get on the one of the telecasts I saw, the Twitter account was following, was saying a lot of people were leaving. So it wasn't much to root for there. But what stood out to you guys in these 2 games over the weekend, the win and the loss?
I mean, as far as the win, like you said, Maxey McCain played well, closed out in the fourth quarter. I thought overall the effort was good. I mean, we looked the part for most of the game. So it was encouraging to kind of get a win where it wasn't always great. You kind of win some games where it could go the other way, and you always want to win those type of games. So just being able right now, just being able to get a victory was the best part. As far as the Clipper game, that was probably the best we had been defended all season. They gave guys, especially they were able to Maxey and McCain, they gave them, I want to say trouble, but they gave them a crowd. They didn't come off those screens clean. I mean, they were switching. They were jumping the screens. they made it them attacking the paint tough to do. Yet we still have some good looks, and they made a good some of their open looks, but that's where some of those looks that they had been making. That's why sometimes you kind of miss those shots when your rhythm is broken, and they did a good job. So I think, yes, it was disappointing that we lost, but I Bleav that the way the Clippers played that particular game, it would have been hard to beat them even with our whole team collectively, because they were clicking on both ends of the court. But you would have liked to see us defend a little better, because they were still very effective offensively, rebounding and attacking the rim and threes. So I just think that, my disappointment was that they seemed to outwork us. They outplayed us. And we really didn't do anything to try to change that. It was just like, oh, well, like we talked about the last show, like, oh, well, here we go. And this particular time, it just happened earlier in the game. I mean, they jumped on us so early, and then it was just like, we almost felt like it was a lack of fight. And then you mix in the point where Maxey and McCain weren't really making the shots like they had been making. That made it kind of worse, because sometimes team go on the run, but we still have those guys that can get us some buckets and kind of keep it close. And when that didn't happen, that's where the gap and the lead got so much bigger that we really tapped out early.
So for the Nets game, let's go to the positives. It was nice to see Maxey and McCain thriving together. The Nets do have a small-ish backcourt, so it worked against them. It's still nice to see them do it well, nonetheless, because right now we're just looking for positivity with them and to see when it works, even against small. It doesn't matter, right? Clippers game was just an absolute disaster. There's so much wrong, it's just hard to pinpoint one thing to fix. I just think the easy answer is that we have over $100 million of salary for this season sitting on the bench. And although that might be a reason for losing the actual game, it's not an excuse for getting beat down the way we did, because Clippers have their star sitting out, and they have a relatively new team. They're not like they have some core players from last year, but Jones, Dunn, they have new players that are playing key roles for them. So for us to sit here and say, or for me to sit here and say, or people in general, that not having guys there is an excuse to lose the way we did, it's just not, because I thought we were readjusting this team to be better prepared when we're without our stars. Because last year we noted how bad we were without Embiid. Like, there are games where we were scoring like we had a record-setting 27-point second halves and stuff, 70-point games, right? Like, we looked terrible. I thought we were doing things to offset that. Granted, one of those things was Paul George, which we also don't have, so that doesn't help either. But I don't know. I don't think we would have won this game with Paul George. I don't think we would have. So, Clippers defense, all the changes they made, kudos to them in their offseason. They built it around defense, and I think they've held their last, 4 opponents to under 100 points. So the changes they made were really good. They worked. I would love to see us play with all of our guys, but yeah, we have a lot of stuff to work on, man. It's I don't know what the answer is, to be honest with you, but trade deadline is going to be interesting.
Do you guys think it's weird that during the period where we had Doc, if we ever went on a spell like this, we heard rumblings, oh, Sixer fans, we need to fire Doc, fire Doc, fire Doc, fire Doc. I don't really hear that at all with the Knicks. No, I'm not saying to fire the guy. I'm saying I think I've seen some fans say call for Nick Nurse. Something's got to change. That we're not seeing any adjustments. We're getting killed in third quarters, which last year we were actually doing a really great third quarter team, and that was something that we kind of showed adjustments. We haven't really shown that third quarter. They were getting actually demolished in third quarters this year for all the games we've played so far. Are you surprised we haven't heard a lot of people's talk about Nick Nurse in the same way they talked about Doc Rivers? Because I feel like if it was the other way around, people would be saying Doc needs to go.
I mean, Doc came into a situation where a lot of the things with Doc was kind of like brought in from his previous stop. I don't want to say it's a race thing. I don't think that's the case. But I do feel that Doc, for the most part, had his full roster. So,
yeah,
with Doc, it became more of a Doc and Tobias thing before anyone else. Like, they kind of got the blunt of everything. Now, with guys being out and then Joel having, kind of his situation that could be a little cloudy in Philly now, more so than it was before. We signed Paul and got new guys. So it's like you can spread that jelly around a lot. So I think he's going to get his fair share, but for people calling for him to kind of be gone, it's kind of tough because people are aware that we haven't had our full team. But I think when the full team comes back and you have some consistency with that and the results aren't changing, then, yeah, I could see him getting the brunt of the, disappointment.
It took a little while for Doc to get that kind of criticism, though. It took a couple playoff gaps, blunders.
But that's what I'm saying. But for the most part, he had the team, so it was kind of like kind of built up. But this isn't Nick Nurse's first year, and people were familiar with him before he came in, and people had the hype before he came in. So it won't take long if the full rosters. I Bleav if the full roster is there and the results aren't more positive or aren't changing, then you expect it.
Yeah, I think the fact that he had a pretty good year last year when our guys were around is helping him a bit. If this was his first year and this is all we saw, I think he'd be dealing with a lot worse right now.
Yeah, I mean, but I still think with guys not being available.
Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah, has helped him not really. Now people will still look at your decision makings and your rotations and all of that stuff, but that's always going to be in question. But those decisions aren't the reasons why at the moment people will say, well, we need to change our coach. Some of that will come down to, winning and how much you win and how far you go.
Yeah, we've had some subscribers comment on our videos over the last week, Eric. They want you to be the next head coach of the Sixers.
Oh, I'm good. I'm good, man.
I will say this, though. Doc seemed to handle shorthanded teams better than Nurse has. I will say, I think Doc almost did his best coaching when he was shorthanded. Like games where I was expecting for us to get blown out with like no Embiid and certain guys out, we come out and win against a good team. We actually come out. Nurse shorthanded record's bad. Like it's really bad. So he's done great with Embiid, but without him, it's been pretty rough.
Different rosters too, man. Like
yeah.
Like true. I said before, it was like people in Philly always got on Tobias, but Tobias was more than capable of stepping in when guys got injured and giving you 20 points. Outside of McCain, we don't have that.
And Maxey. Oh, you mean guys that step in and do that? Oh,
Guys
okay.
that step in that's not in that role.
Outside of that, yeah.
Outside to give you 20 points on the
And
consistent.
Caleb's playing injured right now, so that's another guy who's actually.
I don't believe that Caleb can do that though.
20 points, yeah.
I don't.
But even giving him 12 is tough for him right now.
Yeah, I don't believe that he can do that. I believe that Tobias showed me that he could do that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that he could do that. So I'm not comparing one to the other. I'm just saying I don't. That's not who I envision him being and that's not who I've seen him be in his career. He's been very effective, but to come out and when guys are out and then you score 20 points a game on a consistent, a pretty consistent basis, that's not who he's been.
We're missing this year's version of Tobias and George. That's part of the problem. We're missing not only Embiid, our next guy up. So like it's double, right? It's
it's
$101 million. Man.
Paul George was paid to be, like based on how you see everybody's salary. Paul George was paid to be better than Tobias.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? I mean, you're the salary guy.
Yeah.
People's pockets.
I think. Let me confirm something. Let me see something.
What was Tobias last year? 17 or 16 points.
Okay, yeah, no, it's even more. I was gonna say, So he's making 8 more than Tobias did last year.
So he's making 8 more in his first year than Tobias made in his last year.
Yeah, I think he made 39 last year.
Yeah, Tobias averaged 17 points a game last year.
17. Interesting.
Yeah. I'll take 17 from Paul George right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he averaged 17 as the but he was the third leading scorer. So 17. Now you make him the fourth or fifth. 17 looks awesome.
Yeah.
But or if you cut his salary in half, 17 looks awesome, based on Tasia.
10 more million
findings.
Yeah.
So I still think that obviously McCain has stepped up to the plate and he's more than capable of being probably not even the fourth scorer, probably the third scorer now. We're still not able to see how he's going to play from game to game when everyone's playing. If we get to see that, that'll tell me a lot as far as how it's going to look going forward, because he's not bashful and he can score pretty quick. Before I thought he was a little more of a 3-point shooter, more so than driver, but he plays in pick and roll. He plays in DHO, catch and shoot, play in transition. Kind of does a lot of the same things Maxey do, just not as explosive as Maxey. I'm not sure he really shoots it as good off the dribble. I mean, he can shoot it as good from 3, but not as well off the dribble. But can still give you 20 points a night. So I mean, we got our 4 guys is more than capable of giving you 20 plus a night. But we don't even know how it's going to work with them together. We don't even know.
Yeah. I you know what? He's really polished at, which I'm really impressed at, is off the ball movement. He's wizard without the ball.
Who you talking about, McCain?
McCain, yeah. The moment it leaves his hand for a pass, he is darting to the next.
His motor is good. I mean, he's constant movement.
Yeah.
He's moving around. Can play without the basketball. A lot of guys, that's hard for a lot of guys to be able to play without the basketball. He's more than capable. He's shown he's more than capable of doing that. So that should bode well for the team when everyone comes back. That he's proven that he can be effective without having the basketball, without him being the guys exclusively in the pick and roll and everything else like that.
Yeah, can't wait to see the entire group together whenever that happens. Hopefully it happens soon, though. All right, so now we're going to get to our questions from our subscribers. First question is from Rohan Dunbar 2072. I skipped a question there. First question, should Embiid continue this in and out, no back-to-backs load management strategy, or shut it down and do a meniscal allograft transplant at the age of 30?
Well, I've had my share of surgeries. I'm not a fan of surgeries at all, if you can prevent them. At no surgery that I had, that I came back, and even though I was able to play, that I ever felt like I was where I was before. I always felt like it made me a step slower, step whatever, behind. So in that particular surgery, I don't know much about, but it doesn't sound good. I think that that's something you kind of consider if you feel like this is kind of, or the pain is so much or the swelling is so bad that you almost have to do something like that in order to play. It's tough because the in and out, it's tough to see, and you feel like it's tough to kind of get a feel, but sitting him out and then bringing him back, we don't really know if that's the answer either. So it's really a tough decision to make because we don't know if, because how I'm looking at it now, he hadn't done anything between now and the Olympics. So if 3 months can't really heal it, is it something else or did something else happen? That's why some of the loose information we're getting kind of makes it hard to kind of say. But it is obvious that he's not the same. So I just don't know if him sitting out, it would say, if they came in and say, hey, you know what, we're going to shut him down until January or February. I don't have any confidence that he'll come and look any better. One, because I don't really know what's wrong with him.
Yeah.
And then two, we don't know if this is a temporary thing or this is a longevity thing. It's just so many things that still need to be answered with his injury to even say whether we feel like he should be in and out. Is it just a pain threshold thing where we're pain tolerance thing? Or is this something that when he plays, this is what's happening? Because I can remember towards the end of my career when I had my knee surgery, I was cleared to play. I was able to play, but every time I played, my knee swelled up. Every time, every practice, every game, I was getting the drain before the game, play the game, swell right back up. Every game. So I'm not saying this is what's happening to him. I'm just sharing my situation.
Yeah.
Of where I was like, I can't keep doing this. I'm not going to keep draining my knee every game, just play like in the swollen and can't really bend it and can't get the right flexion. So I don't know. I'm hoping that for his sake that this isn't something that's a longevity thing, and hopefully with newer technology and better things that you're able to have and do, that this is something that can get corrected. But it's obvious that this is something that's an ongoing issue, and I'm really not 100% sure how to solve it, mainly because I don't have all the information. I just think that there's a lot of information that we aren't being told.
Yeah. This guy's even proposing the exact surgery, huh? He's really getting into the weeds about this.
Yeah.
He's gonna give his number for his office after this, soon after this. By the way, we could do it. I mean, just call me up. I mean, like, we could set you up for an appointment next week. You want to go next week? So, I mean, just piggybacking on that, it's extremely hard to answer because we just don't know what's going on in that knee. There's definitely more than what we're being told. I mean, the NBA thought we were crying wolf. That's why they ran that investigation. Their reaction to the investigation scares me, I think, more than anything.
Yes.
If they came out and like fined us big time and said like you guys are lying, I actually would have felt better about it. The fact that the NBA came away from it going, no, him missing games is legit. It's messed up. Like we saw.
I mean, they basically fined them for putting out the information that they put out, not because of him sitting out games. Yes.
Yeah, no, they saw the reports and they were like, nah, it's legit. His knee's jacked. So that to me was like, oh man, actually it's like worse. Like we got caught lying about how bad it is. Like that's what.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That let us know that it was an injury. That was the first sign that I had that it was an injury, but we still don't know what the injury is. That's what I'm saying. We still don't know what it is.
We do know that Emick also said that he didn't miss a practice or a workout throughout the entire Team USA period. So I know he didn't look completely right in those games, but I think that might have been more of a in shape thing, conditioning thing, because they said he was active.
Let me ask you this question right here. Do you think he looked better in the Olympics than he looks right now?
Such a different game, though.
I thought his Serbia game was very similar to the last game. He looked good in the Memphis game.
I'm not talking about his play. I'm talking about how he looked as far as running, jumping, that part. How do you think he looks?
I thought his last game he looked closer to his New York Joel.
New York playoff?
Yeah. I think he looked a little closer then. He might
and then he didn't play the next game.
And then he didn't play. Yeah, so he turned it up and was like, oh, man, my knee is killing me.
And play the next two games.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing. I think when he wanted to prove something that game, and he did. Joel's still in there. I'm not doubting that for a second. I don't think it's an effort thing. I think it's I don't know, man.
Is it kind of a saving grace? Not saving grace, but is it kind of an optimistic thing? The fact that Sam Amick also reported today or yesterday that the Sixers brass knows what's going on with him, and they still decided to give him the extension. Does that make us feel optimistic about his injury? The fact that they know what's going on with him, and they still decided to give him the extension anyway.
I mean,
yes and no.
I would say yes and no because one, when you gave him the extension, he was an MVP. I mean, he was playing at an MVP level. And then two, for the most part, you give him that extension and he didn't have this kind of situation that insurance is going to pay for that salary, most of it anyway, if he can't play.
I think we're just generally optimistic about Joel coming back and looking right again. We've seen him do it so many times. It's like the action star in that movie that just keeps coming back. And like you think no matter what, like building blew up, he's starring in the next one. Like, his coffin's under the ground, he's starring in the next one. Like he just keeps coming back no matter what. I think a part of that is us thinking like, well, we thought this was rough before the Knicks. And I mean, 70% of Joel's still better than most of the league. He averaged 35 and 11 in the New York series. I mean, if he's just like that and maybe a little bit better, money well spent. That could have been what they said too. But it's not. That's not the case. He can't even stay on the floor right now. Which again to me is odd because the New York series was closer to the actual surgery. So unless he had some kind of setback, that's the missing piece of all this. If they told us he had a setback in like September, all this would make sense. All of it would make complete sense. But how do you look worse than what you did closer to the actual procedure and the surgery? That's what looks weird to me. He should at least look like he did in the Knicks series, if not better, and he doesn't. So that's the weird part. As far as like sitting out and taking a rest and just making sure he gets right, like Eric said, it's just so hard to answer that because we don't know if rest will do it. We don't know anything at this point. And if the goal does remain postseason, and we said it even before the season began, because this has been an issue for a long time, right? The goals of postseason, get right before the postseason. The problem is things have changed since we talked about this preseason. We're now one of the worst teams in the league record-wise. So we might not make it to the postseason if he doesn't play more. So we don't really have that luxury we talked about before the season started anymore. It's all gone now. So he's either got to deal with it and play and hope it doesn't make it worse, or we got to just hope and pray that George doesn't get injured anymore and we can just make ends meet, get into the playoffs by any means necessary, and let him rest and get better by then. But I'll tell you what, it definitely it puts the pressure on us to make a needle-moving deal in the deadline, because now we actually before it was like, oh, let's just see what we need and go for it. But now we need something else to supplement Joel's absence. Like that Kuminga rumor. I mean, we need something.
I've seen some fans that say, let's say next week we're 5-20, let's say, and Embiid plays a game or two and then has to sit out again because the swelling, pops up again. Do you then say, you know what, shut him down for the season, let's go in for a full tank? I mean, I think Sixer fans are already thinking about a full tank if we are 5-20.
Yeah, I mean, I think you may come to that point if this is kind of continues. I don't think next week is when that will be called.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of money invested into this season.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, the one thing that supports doing the tank is that we also have a lot of money invested in the next 3 to 5 seasons, right? It wasn't just a 1-year deal. They didn't just sign Joel to a 1-year extension. He's in it for a while. So you're not only protecting this season, you're protecting future seasons as well.
Yeah, but that's the part that's the hard part, because like I said before, we don't know if sitting him and him resting is going to solve anything, because we don't have all the answers. Yeah. This may be a totally pain tolerance thing. That's what it may be. For his sake, I hope not. But they haven't given us signs, or haven't given me any signs to think differently. Because it's not like we watched him play and we watched an injury since the Olympics. We haven't seen anything. We don't know what happened. So what could have happened during that time to get us where we are?
Yeah.
If it wasn't a major issue or major surgery or major incident, what is it why is he still here then? That's telling me that it's some prolonging issue.
I mean, look, they gave him a lot of money with this prolonged issue they knew about. So someone gave them optimism that he'll be all right. Some guy that makes a lot of money doing his job gave them optimism.
Yeah. So here's what I'm saying. I'll say this right here, then we can move on to the next question. Is Joel not playing, or is Joel being told not to play? Is he clear to play, and then he's choosing not to play? Does anybody have that answer?
I can speculate.
No, I'm saying, do you know of anybody that has that answer?
Has that been reported?
We know he's sitting out, but what I'm saying is, has it been said that he's sitting out because the doctor said he should sit out, or is rest, or is he saying I can't do it? What is the reason? Because as a player, if they're saying, hey, you know what, we recommend it, you kind of sit out. Most players are still going to play in the games.
I think
will I hurt myself if I play? No, you won't make it worse, but you just kind of won't get better. I'm playing the game. I'll sit out practice and I'll just play the games and treat it and play the games. So we don't see that. So if we don't see that, then we don't really know like what they're saying. Like I have no idea. Like that's what I'm saying. So you look at the Clippers and you look at Kawhi. Kawhi's not playing. They ain't really told us why, but he's not playing. There's no back and forth. There's no in and out. He's out until he's not.
Yeah, that's way more clear.
But we also don't really know what's wrong with him.
I know. The last report I read for sure was swelling in the knee, he's out. Be reevaluated next time. That sounds to me like that's team/doctors.
Yeah, I think what that was, the team is managing his swelling or whatever.
It could be, not necessarily,
or it could be him saying like, no, and then
this is too uncomfortable. I can't play with this.
It could be them letting him save face by taking the blame for it.
So, because I'm not saying I don't know the answer. I'm just saying like that just shows how much we don't know. I was just giving that example right there of how much we don't know.
We know quadruple compared to what we do know. I mean, we don't know anything.
Yeah, and with Sam Amick's report as well, apparently that's a big thing that the Sixers hold things close to their vest because Embiid doesn't want anything to get out. He's very secretive about his health.
Yeah, I got it. I know.
Yeah. All right, so the next question here is this is from CH Ova. Do you think the Sixers are too small to truly compete? We don't play anyone tall enough to rebound and defend other teams' fours. What are your thoughts?
I don't think the Sixers are too small to compete. I think that some of our lineups we could play bigger. But I do think as a team we have the size to compete. But Yabusele, the way he's kind of playing, if we're playing him as center, then I'm not sure that he should be playing as many minutes at center.
Especially against Zubac.
Yeah, I mean, I did not understand. Now that's something I really didn't understand. Like he was eating him up too. I for the life of me, I'm like, why would you not play Drummond as many minutes against him as possible? Like I didn't understand that.
I'd rather have Yabusele playing against Bamba. He switched it up. When Bamba came in, it seemed like he put Drummond in there. I'd rather have Yabusele against Bamba.
I was very confused on that. And I can understand with Yabusele, you want kind of pull Zubac out a little more and make him guard on the perimeter. I do understand that. But as he was hurting you too much on the offensive end and rebounding.
Killing.
That should have ended quickly.
Yeah.
I think their quick start had a lot to do with him.
Yes.
So I was surprised by that. So I do think that we are too small at times, but I think we have the right size component as a team if our lineups are done fairly right. I do the Caleb, Martin, and Paul exclusively at 4. I know I told you guys at the beginning of the season I wasn't too fond of that this summer. So that may need to be addressed.
Yeah.
I know the league does it, but that type of lineup is really effective if you're really punishing teams from the outside. If you're really punishing teams from 3, and then you stretch them out and spread them out, then all of a sudden you're like, man, how are we going to defend these guys? We got these 2 guards out here. We can't stay in front of them. They're picking roses, causing trouble, and then we rotate and we help, and the guys are spreading the court, knocking down threes. The Clippers basically gave Maxey and McCain the crowd and played off of everybody else. So if you're smaller and you're not knocking down the threes, and then all of a sudden you're going to be smaller on the other end, and you're not going to have rim protection, and you're going to be hurt rebounding.
Equals getting blown off.
You look at the Clippers team, and people were, their moves were questioned by a lot of people. But when you looked at the 2 rosters with the guys that were out there, they look like the better team.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, their best player wasn't playing. Our best player and arguably second best player wasn't playing. But they still look like a better team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how.
I mean, at the end of the day, it was just like it's different because we had James and what James was doing for them and what he did here. It's just interesting to see. Interesting to see that how he almost plays exactly the same, but how it's more effective there than it was with us.
Well, I mean, we had a good run with James. We blew it, but we had.
I'm not saying we didn't have a good run. I'm saying how it seems to be more effective because he didn't really shoot it great. He really got to the free throw line.
Yeah.
But if James didn't really get to the free throw line with us like that.
It's a very defensive team they put around him.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like for him to play in the way he's playing is more effective for his style of play than it was with us. That's why I said it's interesting. I'm not saying either was wrong. I'm not saying one is wrong and one was right. I'm just saying his play there seems to be more effective because it's kind of the way they playing.
Yeah.
Whereas with us, James had to kind of change something. Remember, it was always about whether he can change but he don't have to change there.
Yeah, no, they're kind of letting him play freely over there.
Yeah.
There's no even debate about it, right? There's just do your thing, man. And it seems like they had a clear vision in mind to pair a defensive guard next to him and Dunn, and another versatile long defender in Jones with him playing up in the wing. So, which is also pretty interesting.
I mean, but you look at so we were missing Paul and Joel. I mean, they were missing their two leading scorers.
Yeah, Powell
I forgot Norman Powell didn't play either.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's maybe.
That's what I said earlier. To get blown out the way we did, no excuse for that.
Maybe that's just a tough opponent for us.
Just like you're a coach, though, going into that game, when you guys are talking about that game and how it's going to go, one of the things I would be looking at right away would be like, all right, we got to see if Yabusele can play against Zubac. All right, let's keep an eye on that. It's like they didn't have that at all in their mind. Like, I don't know how much.
I just really thought that. I mean, they had to think that he could impact him more on the offensive end than Zubac could impact him on the other end. But to me, it was apparent right away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But after 2 or 3 minutes of it, was all right, needed to be made. Just like switch it up. But they didn't. They waited till Zubac went out. I'm pretty sure they waited for Zubac to get substituted for Bamba to do the drum. They still they never actually yanked him for him. They waited for Bamba to come in to do that, I believe, which is crazy to me. It's just stubborn. I don't like that.
Yeah, that was an interesting move. Let's see if we ever play something similar like that again and see what they would do.
I mean, I think it's okay against smaller teams for Yabusele to play 5, but not with more traditional lineups like that one. I don't think that's going to work like that. You're going to have to be selective. Like I said, if you went Drummond against Zubac, and when Bamba came in, you want to put Yabusele in there because Bamba's spending most of his time at the 3-point line anyway.
Yeah.
Not really exposing Yabusele's lack of height. That's okay. I'd say that's a good move. But, like, just to do that and think it's interchangeable is just – that's weird to me. I think it makes sense. You mentioned the power forward thing that, that's what we keep hearing. It's not a secret that the Sixers are going to explore ways to bring in a power forward to the trade deadline. So, the thing is, the only question I have about that is Morey's a big fan of waiting to the last possible minute at the trade deadline to make a move. He said this before. You get a better deal that way. Do we have that luxury right now? But also, can you, if we are doing that whole tank question, right? Do do you wait to make a move because of that? Because you don't know what you really want to do for the rest of the year? Because if you try to boost your roster up, that's not like a tank move. That's an all-in for this year and the future move. So I don't know.
I think by that time, what December 17th, is that when we can trade Kenyon Martin's bubble deal or balloon
I don't
deal?
know it's December. I don't know the exact date, but it's like December something. Yeah.
I mean, by that time, we'll get a good idea of what our record looks like and if it's viable to make a move or not.
But you also don't want to let Martin's salary go to waste either, though, because we made that deal literally so we could trade it at the deadline. And if he goes and leaves in free agency, we lose that. So you don't have that anymore. So you kind of have to make a move for a guy that you're going to go over the salary cap with, because we're going to go into the luxury tax with that guy we bring in and re-sign him. Kuminga or Jones, any one of those guys. So I don't know. It's going to be a really interesting next month.
All right, so we got our final question from our subscribers. This is a fun one. I added a fun graphic in here that I saw on Twitter, and I had to put it in here. I need to see your reaction to this, Eric. So this is a question from Profit.1. So, Eric, you and AI was a small backcourt with big hearts. Do you Bleav the small backcourt of Maxey and McCain can succeed in today's NBA championship-wise? Okay, so that graphic right there is Tyrese Maxey. I guess it's in Allen Iverson's body and Jared McCain and Eric Snow's body.
Uh-huh.
And this is a graphic from DayQC on 12 on Twitter. So when I saw that, I had to see Eric's reaction to that.
Yeah, first I'm looking like, that's not me. I'm like, yeah, it kind of threw me off. McCain, he got all the hair, so I wish I had his hair. But anyway. Yeah, I mean, we were small. The difference was obviously AI was small, but he was, could score amongst anyone in the league. I was considered small. I wasn't considered a small point guard. I was considered a small guard to guard the guys that I was defending, because I defended bigger guys in 2s and 3s. But I was capable. I mean, that's what it comes down to, whether you're capable. AI can score it better than both of those guys, but collectively, obviously the way that they score it, they would definitely have an edge as far as scoring. Defensively, it's different, because I think that's where they may struggle right now, is because when you go and you play all of these teams in the league, and most of these teams in the league, if not all, has a guard that you're going to have to defend. Like, you don't have to scheme against. And both of these guys are young guys. So to have to, on top of the demands offensively, to go out there and defend the way it's needed to be successful, is something we still kind of need to see from them. But I think they can be successful. I mean, Maxey is not as short as people kind of assume he is. I mean, because he kind of plays small, but he's not a small guy. McCain, haven't seen him in person, so I'm not really sure of his actual height standing face to face.
What are they both 6'3"?
Who is that?
Both of them? Are they both 6'3"? Is that what they are?
Maxey, when I seen Maxey, he eye to eye, he appeared to be taller than me.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, Maxey looks at 6'2".
That's what I'm saying. He appears to be shorter, but I'm saying eye to eye, I have a picture. He's taller than me, so I don't really know if I was, I got a bad back that day and I was kind of humped over. I don't know, But the picture I had with him and my boys, he was taller than I was. So
interesting.
So maybe it was the hair. I don't know, but maybe it could be that. But he wasn't shorter, is all I'm saying. So I think that they can be successful guards. I mean, you look at some of the guard combinations in the league. I mean, they aren't much smaller than Boston's guards. They aren't much smaller than the Knicks guards. So if you look at all the different teams, like, they're not much smaller.
No, that's what I was looking at. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You look at Milwaukee and you look at all of those teams; they're not much smaller. It'll come down to how are we going to, as a team, defend those other opposing guards? Like when we play the Knicks, who's going to guard Jalen Brunson? So are we going to pull a guy from one of our forwards going to have to guard him, or are they going to guard him? And that's kind of where the difference is with myself and AI versus them is we never had to pull a forward to guard a guard. When I did it, then when I went out, Aaron McKee came in and he did it. So we never had to worry about a forward coming in, and we eventually had Roger Bell and other guys. So we never had to pull from the forward position, pull them down to defend the guard position. That's where I find the issue sort of with those guys, because when James Harden was here, that part was always talked about.
yeah.
Whereas now people don't talk about it, but the issue is still there. And for the most part, it was exposed when we played the Clippers. So that part would have to be one of those two, and maybe I don't know if I really don't know if they're capable. I know they're athletic enough to be that guy, but that's hard, man. That's hard to be able to take that offensive load and still come out and defend the way that it's necessary to win. I don't know. I mean, not everybody wants to be the guys that Boston got, White and Drew Holiday, but those guys aren't much bigger than those guards that we have.
They're 6'4" and 6'4".
That's what I'm saying. They are. So guys aren't. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't think guys are as big as people think they are. Then you have some guards like Luka, obviously is big.
I went through the East.
Trae Young isn't big.
The biggest guard tandems in the East are Charlotte. Miller and Ball are like 6'7" each. That's huge. That's huge. Detroit's got kind of a big duo. Cade and Ivy are like 6'6" and 6'5".
Ivy's I don't know if Ivy's 6'4", but 6'5", but okay, I give it to you.
Pacers are a little bigger. I think
Halliburton doesn't play big at all.
Yeah, that's true. Magic, they're both 6'5". KCP and Suggs, that's what they're listed at least.
But what I'm saying is we're not going against the Magic and I'm worried about their size.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
KCP's not going to bully someone to get to the you know what I mean?
Even with Charlotte, you would be worried about their size when they're getting shots, but I'm not worried about their size as far as dominating the paint, posting us up, putting us in any kind of trouble. That's what I'm saying. I don't really think the size is an issue. Is much more of who in the guard position is going to kind of, okay, when we want to start you two, but who, when we're playing Milwaukee, who's guarding Dame? Do we got to pull the forward got to guard the best guard? We play the Knicks. Who's guarding Brunson? Do one of the forwards got to guard him? Do Kelly got to guard him? Do Martin got to guard him? Like now, all of a sudden, you chasing matchups, and you doing all of this mixing and matching instead of just guards guarding guards. Sometimes that could be a little harder to accomplish in the game, in the scheme of things, especially when those guys are most likely going to guard one of you two.
My question is, what are we going to do against Toronto? Because they've been starting Scotty Barnes at point guard lately.
Yeah, I mean, you put them on the, you can put them on the weaker offensive threats if they're all this bigger.
Yeah, you put one on Grady Dick, but yeah,
I mean, you put them on whoever you think is the weaker. Is when they're all that big and they're all the same size, you put them on the weaker of the big guys, weaker offensively.
But most teams have guards. Yeah, I mean, I just looked at most, like 6'4" on average, 6'3", and maybe one team has one bigger guard than one smaller guard. But for the most part, it's around that 6'4" range. Like the Lakers have pretty big guards too. OKC, SGA is like 6'5", and Lou Dort's like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like those aren't like that's a talent thing. That's not like a too big thing.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. So yeah, I don't.
mean, that's what I'm saying. You're looking at LaMelo Ball, Luka, where you like, okay, these guys are like really
That's a
good
problem.
and a problem with their size. Outside of
Yeah.
that, guys are just really good, but they're not necessarily too big.
Yeah, I'd say. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, because Ant's 6'4". It's not like he's a. You're more worried about the talent there. Not the
That's what I'm
size.
saying. Like, I don't think people realize these guys aren't as big as you think they are.
No.
Jamal Murray's not. I mean, they're
No.
not small, but they're not like, Grant Hill, Magic Johnson big, Penny
No,
Hardaway
you don't,
big.
I don't think you have to worry about that with him.
It's basically Luka and LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
And neither one of those guys. I mean, Luka will use his size and strength on guys. LaMelo don't really use that. He uses height to get his shots off, but he don't really use his size as far as posting guys up.
I'd be a little worried about Maxey on Devin Booker.
But they're the same size.
I mean, Booker's listed at 6'6".
Have you seen Booker, man? You believe
He
that he's
looks 6'6".
Come on, man.
I thought he was.
He might be 6'6". He might be 6'6". He might be, but I'm just saying, like, I'm not looking at Booker and I'm saying to myself, he's too big for Maxey.
No, in fact,
That's what
I thought him and Ant would be a more similar size, actually.
I could see Booker. I thought he was like 6'4", 6'5", but 6'6",
yeah,
maybe right. But I'm saying I didn't look at him. I don't look at him like I do Luka or LaMelo Ball from that size standpoint.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Yeah,
that's what I was saying. So no, I do not think they're too small. I just think that they will have to the team will kind of have to figure out defensively, and it may change each game. How are we going to guard these tough guards, especially once you get into the playoffs when you're playing and when you've seen with guys, if we can't stop them, then, we better score a lot of points.
Yeah. Because it's not only about being big, it's also about playing big too, right? Like, that's one thing with Boston. They're not huge, they're like 6'4" each, but Drew plays big.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's sort of how it was with AI myself. It's like he can guard bigger guys. Not everyone can do that. That's a luxury for a team. It's no different than having Caleb Martin and him being able to defend the guard position and the forward position. Sort of the same thing. When you're versatile defensively, it does help the team.
Cade Cunningham is another up and coming version of one of those guys too. He's 6'6".
Like Cade's bigger, and Cade's big is 6'7" and up.
And he plays big too.
That's what I'm saying. And he's so Cade and LaMelo and Luka. I'm just saying, like, it's not as many guys. But the way a lot of those guys play, you can play your guards on other guys.
Yeah.
And those are the exceptions when you can actually put your forward on them. And in most cases, those guys also guard the forwards and not the guards.
Mm-hmm. Like, for instance,
Ball may be the only one that actually guards. I know Luka doesn't. They'll put Luka on someone else that's not a guard.
For instance, against Detroit, I could see us going Caleb Martin on Cade, and then on Ivy and Tim Hardaway, you put McCain and Maxey on there.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. So those situations don't really concern me as much as the Mavericks do, because you still have Kyrie.
I know.
So, so one of y'all gonna have to guard them jokers.
Yeah.
So, and then, but it's the other. Now you get into the other guards that Mitchell and Brunson and Dame, and just in the East, like those guys. So now all of a sudden, who's gonna guard those guys?
We didn't have.
So then now we got to pull guys down. Now you got to worry about matchups. We play Milwaukee. Somebody can pull somebody to guard Dame. Then you got to guard. So now it's like, okay, well, hope you don't switch on Giannis.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think also, this is just because McCain's a rookie. I think with his build and his acumen on the court, I think he will be able to guard bigger guys eventually. I think he's got that in him. I think he can develop that. He's well built. He's not pushed around. He's very confident out there. I think he'll be able to eventually take on some of those bigger guys and not give up so much.
I think he'll be able to do that. I Bleav that he can do that. I Bleav that to a certain extent he can do it right now. I'm not sure that he's able to do that on high volume guys.
Yes. Yeah.
He
switched on LaMelo Ball in that game when he shot that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. I'm saying when I say high volume guys, I mean like you're for the most part you're exclusively that guy defending that guy from game to game.
Yes.
When I say defend, I'm not talking about a possession or a quarter. I'm talking about from game to game. You're guarding that guy.
His assignment.
Yes, like you're guarding that guy. So from those two playing together, I'm not sure if either one of them are ready for that, to be that guy from game to game guarding that best guard, which the NBA's always had great guards and they have great guards now. So, yeah, but someone's going to have to, and that's why, or we'll have situations where if we don't shoot well, like against the Clippers, we won't win games.
Yeah.
So when are we going to have a game where we don't shoot well and still win? Because that's going to be necessary for us to make a push in this playoff run, or to get back into the playoff seed as far as how we're going this season.
You mean win the ugly games?
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to have some form of defending teams.
Yeah, we're really finesse right now, and not good at it.
Yeah, there was a comment on the question from Rohan Dunbar. He said, hell no to the question. He said, AI was MVP and scoring champ in his fourth season, and Eric was a tenacious defender. So people in the Sixers world still remember how good you were, Eric, at the
Yeah, I mean, but what I'm saying is like they obviously we can talk about the past because it's been done, but that's what I'm trying to say. Like AI was, like I said, both of those guys can score, but they aren't AI. And that's not a knock. I'm just saying this, they just aren't him. And then we had to compliment them, and yes, I compliment defended, but Aaron did too. So and we had other guys in George, and like we were good defensively as a team. Yeah. So for a lot of that aspect, it has to be the team defense as well. But those two, from a backcourt perspective, has to play bigger on the defensive end, especially the more minutes that they play together.
It's an exciting time, nonetheless, with the Eminem backcourt. Hopefully they grow together, and we'll see what these guys can do together. But all right, well, that does it for all the questions from you guys. Really appreciate all the questions. Keep sending them out to us. We'll try to feature some of these every week, and also at DayQC12, great graphic there of Eric and AI cloned into Maxey and McCain. All right, so now we're gonna get to game picks to end the show. So we have two games. So obviously with Thanksgiving coming up, we have Wednesday night game, and then we have a Saturday night game, and then we won't have a game till next Tuesday. So gearing up for the next two games we have, the game picks. So Wednesday night, we'll be hosting the Houston Rockets at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Embiid and Paul George will not be playing in that, so that's already done. The line is not out yet for that game, but who do you guys have in the Sixers versus Houston Rockets game Wednesday night?
And who's our next game against?
Our next game is Saturday against Detroit, at Detroit.
Houston's been playing well.
The number one in the division.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, we can win it. The spread might have been tough to call. They play hard. Coach got them playing well. I'm a little worried about their center without Joel playing. What's his name? How you say his name?
Oh, Sengun.
Sengun. Yeah. I don't think we can play Yabusele on him, even more so him. So I think it's a game. Drummond gonna have to be a Drummond game. I'm a pull for us, man. I'm gonna say we win it, but I don't think it's gonna be easy at all. they're playing well, but they're a very beatable team. But it's a team that plays well. I mean, I think their last game they might have lost, and they were down big and came back and still lost.
Yeah.
So I say we win it, and I say we win a close game, less than 5 or 4 points.
And they're playing tonight in Minnesota, and then they travel to Philadelphia. Eric, does the fact that we're at home, still we've been at home for all this time, and the fact there's Thanksgiving Thursday, I know everyone's off on Thursday, but the fact that we're home, is that something that kind of like, if you're a traveling player during the eve of Thanksgiving, is that something that lingers in a player's head, or no?
No, I mean, I think the travel is travel. Back-to-backs are back-to-backs. It's a holiday, so I don't know where they are after us and whether they'll be in the hotel for the holiday. But sometimes if you're going to be in the hotel for a holiday, you just go play the game and try to get you a victory. Or if you're going back home, let's go try to get us a victory before this holiday. We'll have the day off on Thursday. So
they don't play till Sunday after our game.
Yeah, so if they don't play till Sunday, they probably have Thursday and Friday off. They're going to come ready to play. They're going to, because he's probably going to tell them in advance, hey, we're going to have the next couple of days off. They'll be ready to play. I expect them the effort to be there, because they know in the back end that they don't play till Sunday, and they're going back home for the holiday, and we'll have some few days off.
I think we lose against Houston.
Oh my!
I know. I'm trying to keep it real.
You're
I'm not happy. I'm not happy.
You're
Come on.
horrible.
Oh, I mean, I can counter that with our play against.
I get it though. I get it. But
the Clippers game was horrible, Eric.
Yeah,
I'm being real.
I get it.
They're playing well. We're losing to teams that we should be competing.
No, I get it. I mean,
but
I'm
Houston's actually playing well.
Trying to be somewhat positive here, but I get it.
I think even staying in the game at this point is positive for me. I want to see how we play against them, because they're 12-6 and they're number 1 in their division. So I want to see if we can just even compete at this point, man.
We're trying to provide fans optimism and levity here, buddy. And you're coming in here saying we're going to lose this game.
I do think we beat Detroit. I think we come back after that loss to Houston, and I think we beat Detroit, though. So
being that without those two guys, I would actually think I think that differently. I think we beat Houston before we beat Detroit.
Interesting.
Even though I'm gonna pick us to win both, I would pick Houston over Detroit. So yes, I'm picking us to beat Detroit. I'm picking us to win 2 and go on our 2-0 streak here.
You are more confident about Detroit?
Winning in Detroit. No, I'm more confident in winning Houston than Detroit.
That's what I meant. Sorry, you're more confident about Houston. Okay.
Yes. Why than at Detroit?
Why are you less confident about the Detroit game?
Why am I not?
Yeah.
I mean, Detroit already rocked us at home.
Yeah.
Did we forget that?
I mean, no, but just because we haven't played Houston yet doesn't mean they can't rock us now. They are the Rockheads.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I just think that Detroit, the way they are, they playing hard too, and the way they play, and without Joel and Paul, we sort of match up well for Detroit without those guys. Now they're very beatable. But if they have their team, like we match up well for them. Like we're not coming in, and you're coming in, and then our best players at the guard position, and they have multiple guys at the guard position that can kind of help defend and play, and then that's their best players is a 6'8" guy. So I just think that particular team in Detroit and where they are, they'll see us and see us kind of depleted, and that'll be a big game for them to win.
If Paul George plays, because he says he's trying to get back this week, and he says he'll play with the brace on. If he plays, does that change your outlook? If
that's his first game, not really. I mean, he'll help, but I'd expect Paul not to play very much. I mean, so I can't say that him coming back will change anything because I don't really anticipate him playing very much in the first game.
At least Houston's one of those smaller backcourt teams. Van Fleet's small, and Jalen Green's, I think, like 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah. I do think Houston's very beatable. Even though they're playing well, I do think they're beatable.
Yeah. But yeah.
That's what said it come down to their center play. If their center goes off, then it could be a long night for us.
She's having a good year, man.
Do you think Bono should be getting more playing time, Eric, or no?
No, I don't think he's the answer. I think you got to stick with Drummond and increase his minutes. And I think you can be creative around that when he goes out. So I don't think that right now, I don't think that they're going to give him consistent minutes until we kind of know what we're going to get with Joel as far as moving forward, as far as his games.
All right. Well, Eric has us going 2-0 for the next 2 games, and Tasia has us going 1-1. But yeah, hopefully, they provide us some wins over this Thanksgiving holiday break here. Hopefully. But all right, guys. Well, that does it for us. We hope everybody enjoyed the episode. We hope everybody enjoys a nice, happy Thanksgiving with their family and friends, or however they choose to celebrate their Thanksgiving holiday. But we love you, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week, next Tuesday.
All right. Take it easy.
Later on.
Take it easy, guys.